Hello, this is Michelle with TrillionStars.com. Today we're going to discuss the limbic mind. This report is a computation of related viewpoints that will help to explain the phenomena that is the human brain. Who controls your brain? How many of your reactions and thinking processes are unconscious to you and therefore beyond your control? We think we know what is reality. We believe that we have arrived at our reality through our own reasoning. Think again. The following notes are important tools to understanding how we the people are manipulated to think in the blue pill reality. The results are the loss of our wealth, freedom, and happiness. It is important as an intelligent member of society that you are able to gain control of your life and act in a rational manner. The human mind is the controller of an individual's future. It is the choices we make that control our destiny. Rational thinking is essential to living a life of prosperity, health, and happiness. The limbic mind. The limbic mind is the emotional mind. The limbic brain kicks in when a person perceives a threat of attack. Firing of the limbic brain shuts down the higher brain centers and the rational thinking processes. The body goes into fight or flight mode. Adrenaline, endorphins, and heart rate all increase. Breathing becomes shallow and rapid. This state of limbic operation is also called monkey brain. It is at this point a person has the mental capacity of a healthy 3-year-old monkey. Activation of the limbic or monkey brain is used for the control and manipulation of people by removing their ability to think rationally. Modern examples include the exaggerated use of crime reports and terror alerts by the media and governments. This shocks the general population into fear and complacency. Most advertising appeals to the limbic mind, as does headline news. Dichotometric thinking. Dichotometric thinking is a simplistic way of viewing the world. Dichotomy is the process of dividing into two, usually opposite or contradicting groups, viewpoints, or entities. So much of how people see the world is with either-or thinking. Everything is said to have an opposite. Everything is labeled right or wrong, good or bad. Are you with us or against us? There is no middle ground. There is no room for intellectual discussion, expanding thoughts, or multi-level concepts of ever-increasing possibilities and ideas. The conversation can be controlled, limited to pointless arguing of two emotionally charged limbic ideas. The result is a dumbing down of thought processes and a diversion from the real agenda of the one sponsoring the argument. This is a common strategy among those interested in attacking value producers. Check political debates for an obvious reference. An example of how our brains have been trained to think in dichotomies is the red pill, blue pill concept. It is a good concept in that it offers two choices, and as a result is easy to follow for the majority who are used to this line of thinking. The introduction of the black and white pills again offers the opposites we find easy to follow. Black is bad, white is good. Slowly all four concepts can be brought together. More and more facts and details can be added. New learning can be focused on small chunks of information and then integrated into the whole of one's knowledge. The bicameral mind. The bicameral mind was first identified by Dr. Julian Jaynes of Princeton University in his book, The Origin of Consciousness and the Breakdown of the Bicameral Mind, 1976. The bicameral mind's functioning is nature's automatic, learned mode of response without regard to conscious thinking. The right hemisphere of the brain transmits thoughts to the left hemisphere of the brain as instructions to be acted upon. It is easier to not think and rely on instructions from a person who claims to be an authority. Masses of people are manipulated in this way. Our whole system of controlling the populace uses people's desires for quote-unquote sure-thing guidance from higher authorities. Some examples that we have found involve the sales of investment real estate, RRSPs, mutual funds, stocks and bonds, and illegal MLM scams. Many suckers go this route instead of doing the hard work required to learn what it takes to be a financial success. The lazy bicameral thinker avoids self-responsibility by following pre-packaged truth from external decision makers. These pigeons follow their feelings and wishes to recreate reality in order to avoid the responsibility, discipline, and honesty effort required to produce values, wealth, and happiness. They live in an illusion that they know how to think and that their fantasies are real. They are usually irresponsible, immature, incompetent, and increasingly out of control. They are quick to attack a value producer and demand something for nothing. In his reference to the human brain and thinking processes, Bill Bonner writes in Empire of Debt about a study that refers to two parts of the brain. One is the prefrontal cortex, where advanced logical thinking takes place. From here, a person can reflect on the best investment to make or which automobile offers the most value. The second part of the brain studied is the limbic system. From the limbic, decisions are made that best suits the person's own prejudice. If he considers himself a manly man, he buys a Hummer or a large truck. If she considers herself an intellectual, she may opt for the Audi or BMW. The hip environmentalist would pay the extra thousands required to purchase a hybrid. The upper rational brain realizes that it is necessary to save for retirement. The limbic brain insists on buying the latest widescreen TV instead. The limbic is powerful enough to put the average American's retirement financing and even his life in jeopardy. The limbic mind is instinctive, atavistic, and primordial. We know of individuals who have signed over power of attorney and the title of their houses and properties to authoritative cheats. These cheats work their victims into the emotional limbic response by promising them $1 million. At the same time, the victim could walk away from their mortgages. These cheats were going to sue the banks and get the people large sums of money in return. This is an example of money for nothing promise from an expert that bicameralists find hard to resist. Bill Bonner also writes of the bicameral mentality that has driven real estate prices up and enslaved buyers who mortgaged and borrowed against their home perceived value to a point where they can no longer afford to pay. The limbic desire to spend the perceived wealth was too great for some. Housing prices climbed and people seemed to be making a fortune. Greed is a powerful emotion. Keeping one's head under such conditions is possible if you are aware of how your mind works. It will be important that we learn to control our emotions through understanding them, not suppressing them, as emotions are not bad. People buy houses with the illusion of having a place of their own. They like the security of owning their own home, which is another illusion. You have the title to the house only. The government can confiscate the house for many reasons, but people feel pressured to buy the house before the mortgage rates go up, while they can still afford it, or because it is a buyer's market. In fact, people do not need to buy a house. They need a place to stay. There is a time and place when buying a house is advantageous. Buying property that is about to be associated with a sovereign guarantee would be one such situation. Buying a house at a government auction for half the price would be another positive move. And buying a property in the United States if you are not an American is good because if you are exempt, you would avoid paying the taxes of owning that property. Keep in mind that owning a house you live in does not generate you any income and will cost money for maintenance, insurance, and taxes. The masses have never thirsted after truth. Whoever can supply them with illusions is easily their master. Whoever attempts to destroy their illusions is always their victim. A quotation from Gustave Le Bon's book, The Crowd. A person heading to war for their country's flag and mom's apple pie would not respond kindly to you pointing out that their value system is based on a hoax. The result may be an out-of-control, limbic, dichotometrically reasoned response directed at you. How is it so predictable that the bicameral thinker will attack the teacher who challenges their illusions? What makes these false realities so difficult for people to give up? A very simple, very powerful, and unconscious program that has been installed in people from day one. It is the belief that they are